Incorporated and Beethoven Orthodontic Group based in Taiwan. His passion in digital learning has led him to produce a series of video courses on orthodontics and implantology and an app, Beethoven Dental Encyclopedia. He has been actively involved in the design of orthodontic bone screws and application of impaction treatment. His latest focus is implant and orthodontic combined treatment, and he's been a member of ANCO since 2015.
Thank you. It's truly an honor to speak with you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. There are 3 schools that dramatically impact and simplify my practice. Today, I'm going to focus on the 3rd school, which is IZC Screws. Because these 3 schools bring the excitement to my practice. It is fair to say, if I cannot use this school, I'm going to retire. But before I get into the 3rd school, which is IZC Screws, I have to give you a brief review about the first 2 schools that we just talked about 2 years ago, because I want to give you the whole picture of the research we did for the past 10 years. The buccal shear screw has 3 major applications. The first one is try to solve skeletal class 3, a huge buccal discrepancy. We're talking about 11 millimeter buccal discrepancy. And if the patient, they refuse to have surgery, what would you do? We use this buccal shear screw to bring the whole dentition backward. And think about it. 11 millimeter buccal discrepancy with 5 millimeter negative object. How can we do it without surgery? It got to be very difficult to solve. And he was told that only surgery could solve his problem. And 22 months later, that's the result. Neither surgery nor extraction. Amazing. And people criticize, hey Chris, I think that's photoshopping. No, that's a real case. The idea behind this approach is this BS screw, by the way, is buccal shear. We are educated person. We don't say dirty word. So the BS screw is trying to give you a whole arch distalization. And within a couple months, we'll be able to solve this major problem. And in fact, to convert 5 millimeter naked overjet to 1 millimeter positive overjet, it only took me 4 months. How could that possible? Because the screw is put outside the root. People who are very skeptical will argue, hey Chris, one case doesn't mean anything. We are living in the evidence-based era. We want evidence, okay? For the past 5 years, we published 17 skeletal class 3 cases with buccal shear screw. And Dr. Ramus and Rodriguez took a step further, used finite element method, try to figure out the force system in this approach. And he ended up with this beautiful publication in AJODO. One thing I would love to bring your attention is, in this article, we find out that the center of rotation, when we use this buccal shear screw mechanic, is far forward to result it used to. So the center of rotation and center of resistance in this buccal shear mechanic, it is the first time that we'll be able to use finite element method to test and to examine this buccal shear mechanic. So I would encourage you to download and read this article. What else? The second application will be to solve the severe posterior buccal crossbar. How would you solve a case like this? Wow, difficult. And it only took me 3 months. And we put a buccal shear screw and look at the distance between buccal shear screw and the molar tube. It's 6 millimeters when we started. 3 months later, it touched the molar. And we only use the power chain, elastic chain. And I only changed it twice. That's it. 6 millimeters upright. And people will argue, oh, what's the big deal? Think about it. This was 2011. What really striking me is when you look at the severe buccal crossbar with adult patient, I think it is very difficult to solve. Huge buccal crossbar. So when I look at the literature, how people solve this similar question, I was so excited. Because when you look at angles running back to 2014, and let me show you, it's very, very similar. I was so excited to look at this case, and I want to find out how those masters fix this kind of case. Don't you agree? It's so similar. Almost identical. Think about it. They published in 2014, I fixed this case when it was 2011. And they are quite similar, except my girl is a little bit older. The older is a little bit hard. And then the bone gets harder and harder to see. So it is a little bit difficult to solve. So let me ask you, my moderator, thank you for your kind introduction. We appreciate it. They are very similar. What would you do? Have you ever read this article? You're supposed to read it. Everybody's supposed to read it, that's what everyone's supposed to. So what they did is they did, before one was the opening, and down below BSS are all in our word. President, Mr. President, is it true? Let me ask you, Mr. President, what do you think about this kind of surgery? If one school can solve the problem, why bother to have surgery? Let me challenge you. If you present two-jaw surgery to this gentleman, which gentleman are we talking about? I think this gentleman. Look, Mr. President, can I do two-jaw surgery in your daughter's mouth? What is two-jaw? Which daughter are you talking about? The older one. The older one. You want to put two-jaw surgery in my book? What's the name? Okay, and he will say, I don't like it. Chris, you're what? Think about it. One school can solve the problem. What bother to have a two-jaw surgery? It's a beautiful daughter. But when you put a school, even when you put a school, one school, you don't school at will. You have to be very serious, to make sure it's absolutely necessary for the school. Otherwise, when somebody school you, school them back into. I don't want to school this. Okay? So what is the third application? The third application will be impaction. The low impaction is very difficult to solve for 3 reasons. Number 1, anatomic, because the nerve and the blood vessel. Number 2, because the density of the bone is hard to bring the impaction out. Number 3, it's difficult to design an anchorage, reliable anchorage. So what his oral surgeon suggests is remove all to put two implants, but let me remind you, if you do so, you might run into a risk. Not only you tear the nerve, but also you might break the entire mandible. So what we did a couple years ago, we simply just put a buccal shear screw with a 3D lever arm. Because it's three-dimensional lever arm, it will enable you to design the precise force system to bring this impaction to the occlusal surface, 7 millimeter. Alan, you like it? I really like it. And it's so easy. If it's difficult, I cannot do, but it's so easy. So people will ask, what is the failure rate for this buccal shear screw? We examined 1,680 buccal shear screw, and turned out to be the failure rate just 7, which is very low. Because you compare to what Dr. Parr published 10 years ago, their failure rate is 19%. So 7% is pretty good. Pretty good. And what the other piece of information I would love to share with you in this publication is we also examined the difference between attached gingiva and movable mucosa insertion. It turned out to be they are equally successful. Why? Because the screw is in an upright position. That's why it won't bother whether you put mucogingiva or attached gingiva. And if you are interested in this study, you can find it in Angle Orthodontic, November 2015. 7%. The second screw I would love to share with you is the Ramus screw. And how would you fix a case like this? And which one would you take out? And think about it. You need to deal with the mandibular canal. If you take out the second molar and upright the third molar, you might tear the nerve. And I already showed you the story 2 years ago. My friend told me a story, somebody take out the second molar and tear the nerve. The patient couldn't kiss, so they sued the doctor and they lost $1.5 million. That's a lot of money. So in order to avoid that catastrophe complication, we're not going to take out the second molar. Instead, we take out third molar. And the next step is, what will be your treatment plan? If you ask Dr. Charlie Burstone, what would you do? And can anybody recognize this young lady? This picture was taken 40 years ago. Oh. You are twins. How do you know? That's 40 years ago. Nelson did an excellent job to write up a story about her encounter with Charlie. And when I was reading it out, I feel in my heart. I suggest everybody read this out. Congratulations, you got a call.
Thank you.
You are good. So I suggest everybody read this out. So interesting. And if you ask Charlie Burstone, how would you solve the problem? And he would say, it's easy, Chris. Take out the third molar and produce a moment. And the moment will rotate and upright the second molar. And how can you produce this moment? Easy. You put the anchorage far behind the second molar and hook out the attachment with pouch. And you got it. So you'll be able to produce that. And the question is, where do you want to put the screw? It's always a lot of work. If you can find the hole, you can put a screw. So you put a screw in the Ramus area like this, and watch carefully. What did you see? Let's focus on the left-hand side. Did you see any change? Right here? Oh, not here. Go this way. Did you see a space? And then 3 months, 4 months. Wow. You're ready to put the braces right here and hook up the main arch wire to upright. 7 months in treatment. Can you believe it? 7 months. Only a Ramus screw with power chain. The most rewarding thing you do in life are often the ones that look like they can be done. 7 months. Back to anatomy. One thing I want to remind you is, go back to here. Where is my here? Now, I have great respect to Charlie Bristol, but before Charlie Bristol, 60 years ago, 60 years before Charlie Bristol, people already figured out how to design the center of resistance to upright the impact. And it is this guy. I have great respect to Calvin Hicks. But in the ankle society, we are not supposed to talk about it. Because he is our enemy. Edward Engel didn't like Calvin Hicks. So I am not named our enemy. So I would love to present this Calvin case to our president. He did a wonderful job to pick this man. I really I love this result. So I would suggest just stick to this area because people go and it's close to LA airport. Why not go to St. Petersburg? It's far away and it's chilly and snowing in Russia. So stay here. St. Petersburg needs a global warming. We don't need it. So stay here. Forget about St. Petersburg. When we put the buccal shear screw, it's put right here. We use 2 by 12. But once you get to the Ramus screw, the Ramus area, we have a lot of soft tissue which cover this area. That's why I would suggest you select a little bit longer screw, because if the screw is not long enough, and pretty soon the soft tissue will cover the screw, and you cannot find the screw head, and you cannot activate your power chain or elastic chain or whatever. Anyway, you cannot activate. So I would suggest 2 by 14 is the way to go for this Ramus screw. And people will say, is that difficult to do? No, it's so easy. Let me show you. Before you put a screw, you really needed to put local anesthesia. Because when I give a lecture, I forgot to say you need a local anesthesia. They just put a screw and the patient will jump out of the chair. So you put a topical and then you put a local. Local infiltration should be enough. After that, you make a dent. With this dent, you follow the dent. And it's easy to put this screw. Within 20 seconds, you're done. And the key is you always use manual insert, not machine. Because once you use handpiece, the handpiece will entangle the soft tissue. Always use manual insert. In order to use manual insert, this screw has to be strong enough. And what kind of screw is strong enough? I would suggest use stainless steel. It's flexible, it's strong. Strong screw can make our operation great. So I prefer strong screw. And 20 seconds, you're done. Wow, just 20 seconds. And then you hook out this power chain and cut the extra. Next month, you stretch the power chain again and cut the extra again. That's it. So the second visit, probably just 10 seconds. With that, the second month, you stretch and cut the extra, and you're done. Just 10 seconds, and they will erupt. Believe me, it's so easy. So look at 7 months. I think it's indeed a revolutionary approach. When people tell me their approach is revolutionary, I always think about this guy is trying to bullshit. There is no revolution. But this is indeed revolutionary. I don't want to bullshit you. You are an educated person. So my conclusion is that I really need to find where is my I forgot to run this. So my conclusion was does matter. And look at here, if you choose the right weapon, it will be so easy to fix the problem. It doesn't. So weapon does matter and screw does matter. When you show this picture, let me remind you, last week I was in Casablanca, Muslim. I showed this and people was not happy. Why use that Indiana Jones to shoot my people? Because that movie was burned in Casablanca. That's my professor. I knew that Indiana Jones. So screw doesn't matter. Wow! What is the failure rate for this buccal Ramus screw? 5%. If you are interested in this Ramus screw study, you can find it in this journal, and you can free download. Every single step that I show in my presentation can find in this journal. Every single step, believe me, every single step. I love to write an article contain every single step because that is the way I can learn. Because I am visual, I can only learn when people show me step by step. I'm not smart enough to read it. So to conclude my study, that is one small screw for men and a giant step for orthodontists. Think about it. That 5% is because patient didn't keep good oral hygiene, so I have to take out. If they can keep good oral hygiene, I don't have to take out. The failure rate will be zero. Zero. One more piece of information, tip. Bone engagement, 3 mm should be enough because the insertion torque is over 30 Newton centimeter. And if you have over 30 Newton centimeter, that power chain is not going to rock and roll and lose the screw. I guarantee it. Believe me. No way you can loosen the screw. What if you got a poor oral hygiene? For example, this case, what would you do? Instead of taking second molar, we're going to take up the third molar and upright it. And remember, we don't want to lose $1.5 million because we want to keep our profit in our pocket. So within 30 minutes, I'll be able to remove the third molar, remove the second premolar, and bound the attachment, put the Ramus screw. 4 months, he didn't show up. 4 months later, when he showed up, it's an emergency visit. It's information, patient didn't brush. So what would you do? You only have 3 minutes to handle this case. Emergency visit, 3 minutes. Ron, what would you do if you only have 3 minutes? 3 minutes. We want to get the job done. And we also want to take a photo. And we also want to educate this patient. You need a brush. What I did is I need a more moment to upright it. So I decided to put a button right here. And with this button, I hook up a new power chain. And we're done. 3 minutes. And guess what? The next month, we upright the second molar. 1 month later, we're done. Can you imagine? Let me give you a mathematical calculation. This patient come to my office, 3 visits. We spent 5 months and 2 days. The total treatment time I spent in this patient is 30 minutes, 3 minutes, and 3 minutes to remove the button and remove the screw. So 36 minutes, I get the job done. That's it. It is easy. When I say it's easy, it's really easy, believe me. And I remember my boss, Steve Jobs, used to say that there are 3 levels of pro. The first level is simple solution from simple thinking. And as my professor Jim Hasby said, it won't work. So we go to the second level, is complex solution from deep thinking. It works, but it's so complicated that people cannot duplicate. And I don't like it because I'm a simple-minded person. It is the third one, simple solution from insanely deep thinking. That works. And that is real pro. So I was thinking about when I grow up, I want to be something like this real pro. The last school I'm going to talk about it is IZC Screw. 15 years ago, my friend and my teacher in Taiwan, which is Dr. Kitoson's student, John Lin, told me, hey Chris, please watch your work. My goodness, okay. Because you study too much. You study the major media at bias. So you got brain image, brain contamination. I want you to brush. So I brushed, I thoroughly brushed, and after I brushed my brain, I said, Chris, I wanted you to find out how to put a screw outside of it. So I'd be able to dislodge the upper whole division level to stop the class screw. Okay, so it took me 6 months to figure out how to put a screw outside the root in the basin. So if you can put a screw outside the root, you'll be able to move the whole division backward and forward because the root is not in the way. And it took me 6 months. Finally, we figured out infra-zygomatic crest is the way to go. So I'm going to show you where is this IZC located. It's somewhere between the first molar and second molar. It's right here. They have plenty of bone in this IZC area. And that's where we put it. So the screw is outside the root. And in the clinical part, I would suggest you leave the screw head about 5 millimeter soft tissue clearance. You can put it in movable mucosa or attached gingiva. It doesn't matter. As long as you leave the head a little bit longer, about 5 millimeter clearance. So let me show you the application for this IZC screw. Suppose you have full cast class 2. How would you move the whole dentition backward to get to class 1? Like this. 14 millimeter overjet, full cast class 2. 19 months in treatment, we'll be able to get into solid class 1 with ideal overjet. Wow. And what we did is we use IZC screw, class 2 elastic, and bilateral. The purpose for the bilateral is guide the mandible to shift forward. But the main mechanic is this early IZC screw to bring the whole maxilla backward. Look at that. From here to 11 months in treatment, we'll be able to convert class 2 canine to class 1. And the total treatment for this case, 19 months. Of course, you probably recognize I take out the second molar because the patient has third molar, so I decided to take out second molar. It will be easy. And look at this cephalometric tracing. It's amazing. 14 months, 14 millimeter overjet. And the treatment result is because we disalign the whole dentition, the molar and the incisor, with only but IZC screw. So I think the IZC screw is the way to go. Put outside the root will be enable you to dislike the whole dentition backward. How to move the whole dentition backward in such huge scale with IZC? Let me invite my abnormal friend, Dr. Ramsey, to show you where this IZC located. It's right here. Plenty of bone for you to put this IZC screw. And if I cut the occlusal, you'll be able to see the major difference between the IZC screw and the screw that we used to use a couple years ago. The major difference is the IZC screw is outside the root and the other screw is between the root. That's why you cannot dislike the whole dentition backward. I consider this is very important. Yeah, Gary, take a photo. Good. I like it. You have to, because that's beautiful. A work of art. So with that, you'll be able to change the force direction. In the other approach, you cannot. And it's easy, for this approach, easy to poke into the soft tissue, damage the soft tissue. So with IZC screw, we have 4 major applications. The number 1 is whole arch digitalization, and that is the one we are going to do our study. The number 2, you can also use IZC screw to intrude the molar. And the number 3, you can also put the screw lean forward and move the buccal segment forward to visualize the molar. Number 4, you can use screw with 3D lever arm to solve the impaction. And also, you can use the IZC screw and T-loop to solve transposition. As a matter of fact, we just published one article in AJODO last month, so I will encourage you to look at this IZC screw with T-loop. Every single step can be found in this publication. AJODO, December issue. Let me go back. When we talk about buccal screw and Ramus screw, because the bone is very hard, so we use Ramus screw. But when you go to the upper position, the bone is soft. So you have the ability to solve, to choose the titanium screw. Titanium screw is brittle, it's strong, it's not like stainless steel. Stainless steel is very flexible. So when Dr. Walker visited my office for the first time 10 years ago, he realized, hey Chris, why you use stainless steel? And why other people use titanium? I tried to answer the question, but one thing I couldn't answer is, well, because you're supposed to do a study to keep the data. What kind of data are you doing? I don't need data, I know how to do it. I know what I'm doing. Why should I do study? No, you need to have data. Because data consists of numbers, which people know what kind of failure we're talking about. But at that time, the only number I'm concerned about is the number in my bank account. But anyway, I do the study. So in order to find out the difference between titanium and stainless steel, you have to design a study, a well design. And this study is very difficult to me, many years. It's randomized double blind. When we say double blind, is my patient and myself has no idea. If the patient asks you, what kind of study you do? Oh, it's a study I have no idea what I'm doing, and you have no idea. How can you ask the patient to sign the approval form? It's impossible. But 4 years ago, when I talked to David Sucker, he told me that you can put it in the first stage of the consultation. All the material will be used for research and teaching, and that's not the problem. And people will say, why do you need a study? Because I want to make sure all the approach I use in the ortho is the cutting edge. And in the second ortho, it will be better. That's why I need a study. I mean, they are happy to do that. So they sign up. So I'll be able to do this double blind. Actually, everybody was blinded because Dr. Robert had no idea, and my student have no idea. So only arch digitalization, only one doctor, only one technique to put a screw. Let me show you how to put a screw again. I use this wrong C to show you. First, you catch the bone. In order to catch the bone, 90 degree, catch the bone. Once you catch the bone, you keep screwing and you change the direction. Why you want to change the direction? Because avoid hitting the bone. How can you change the direction? Because this screw is flexible. It's made of 2x12 stainless steel or 2x12 titanium. Very strong, very strong. So we're done for this screw. So the screw is outside the root, obvious. People will say, hey, Chris, I don't know, can I do it? Believe me, it's easy. But I'm not going to show you today. You go to my YouTube, you'll be able to see it. We should be detailed about everything. So let me show you the detailed procedure of this study. We are talking about the failure rate of IZC screw. We examine 6 months. Why 6 months? Because that's average time to destroy the dentition. And we get maximum data. It's stainless steel and titanium. The study design is randomized split mouse, double blind. And look at that data. The female far exceeds male. Do you know why? Because it is my goal in the future, I'm going to specialize in female orthodontics. Just treat female. But unfortunately, my wife given the complete agreement. So I do that. The sample we use, the same is the same office, the same manufacturer, and the same screw, the same insertion method, and the same force system, which I use the power chain pre-stretch. Let me show it, the same doctor who put the screw. I love it. All the screw I screwed it. So how to stretch? Before I put the power chain, I want to make sure the power chain is consistent. So I eliminate the initial degrade. So I pre-stretch twice and before I put it. So it's spring mounts. One side is stainless steel, the other side is titanium. Next patient, we switch. So our hypothesis, we want to test the failure rate in the stainless steel is higher than the titanium. The data, when I look at data, I was so amazed. It's a lot of data. If you are encountered with any clinical randomized clinical trial, you probably will appreciate how time-consuming it will be. A lot of data. And in this case, even my student and my professor, we don't understand. We don't know which side have which screw. So that's a lot of data to show you. And let me just summarize all the data for you. That will be easy for you to understand. First, we have 772 screws. With this, we equalize to 4 quarters. So it's 193 for each one. We have total 49 screw fail in every quarter. For example, stainless steel in this side and titanium in the other side. We have the number like this. And to put it together, that the total failure rate is about 6%, and the stainless steel is 27 stainless steel and 22 titanium. So it's 7% versus 5.7%, and the total is about 6%. The overall is 6%. So the conclusion is it's different. The stainless steel is a little bit higher than titanium, but not statistically significant. To summarize my research, the total failure rate for IZC screw is 6%. The stainless steel is a little bit higher than titanium failure rate, but not statistically significant. So you can choose the stainless steel or titanium. It's your preference. For me, I would love a little bit stronger screw. So I personally prefer stainless steel. And also, you can reduce your inventory. And we are writing up this research, and we're going to publish in this journal, so you can download at izoi.org. pretty soon. To conclude today's lecture, 15 years ago, when we started school practice, we put between the root, and the failure rate is a little bit high. And later on, we find out if we put a screw outside the root, that can solve the problem. So the failure rate dropped significantly. So outside the root and use stainless steel is the key for my presentation. One more stainless steel. How would you fix this gummy smile? Can you fix with screw only? It's a huge gummy smile. No OGS. Screw alone can fix it. Can you believe it? Wow. That's a huge, huge change. Look at this gummy smile. Tony, do you want to know how to fix it? You asked me to present gummy smile. Do you really want to know? I couldn't hear you. Yes. Can you speak like men? Yes. Okay. Come back 2018. Thank you.